to everyone, wherever you may be. Thank you for joining this month's Filr Product Update webinar. We've got some exciting things for you today. Venkata and Lida are going to show you some of the bits and pieces that we've been working on that I think are coming in 23.4. But before we, sorry, 23.4, that's around the wrong way, isn't it? 24.3, which I think is due out later this month, but we'll find out in a moment. But before we get on to that, let's just have a look at some other things. So in a couple of weeks, or less than that, 10 days time or so, we've got the TTP USA, which is taking place in our Provo offices. This is a free conference that you can attend. It's a week-long conference. There's some workshops on the Saturday and Sunday, and then standard sessions for most of the week afterwards. I'll post the link to that in the chat window in a moment, but some of the sessions we've got as far as Filr is concerned, we've got a couple of workshops. So there's a full one-day workshop on securing your Filr environment. So that's going through the security side of things. And then there's just a half-day workshop we're doing, I think, on the Wednesday, just going through some of the things about Filr that you may not be aware of, that you can configure, get working in there as well. And there's some sessions that are happening. There's the file and print roadmap. So among with Filr, that's going to be talking about OES and iPrint, the roadmap there. And then we've got some Filr sessions, how to migrate from a single server to a cluster, a bit about reporting and querying the database to do reports, customizing the look and feel of the web client, and a little bit on the other clients as well, and also having an in-depth look at using LDAP with Filr and some tips and tricks and hints there. So as far as today's agenda is concerned, we've got the release updates, which Girish is going to give us, and then we're going to just go over. I think, Girish, you've got something you want to just say about the Filr Advanced promotion, which finished on Friday, I think. So right. There's that. And then we're going to get into some bits that we're looking at bringing in with 24.3 with some additional hypervisors that we're going to be supporting, and some things with content editor that you may not have tried. And we're just about to, I think, update the content editor with 24.3 as well. So that said, Girish, maybe you can just give us a update on what the releases are. I think we're most probably at a guess having 24.3 being released this month.
Hey Robin, thank you. Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to the webinar. Thanks for joining. I guess might have probably messed up in terms of the agenda. So Robin, we might probably just talk about the Filr Advanced to begin with. And you're right, 24.3 is just around the corner. We'll get there. So if you can you please help move the slide? Yeah. So I'd just like to say a big thank you to everyone for your support and participation in the Filr Advanced promotion, and also to Robin and the folks for helping set it up. So large many of you have participated and tried it out, but we would like to know the feedback. So we want to improve on the way we do our promotions, and if you like the promotion, or if you wanted the promotion to be slightly different, or if you wanted a totally different promotion, please do let us know what would be interesting for you. So these, I mean, please write to the list here to provide the feedback on the promotion. Although the promotion itself is now concluded, like Robin mentioned, I think starting the July 1st. The material that we built for the promotion, including the how-to videos, are still relevant and will be available beyond the promotion period. Robin, if you could maybe during the webinar drop a link to all the great videos that you built, it would be helpful for everyone, just as a reminder.
Well, they're up on YouTube. You can find them there. I'll see if I can find the playlist, but we're actually working on just developing a web page with all the videos in there. So making it a little bit easier to get to on there.
That'd be fantastic. So, and we are planning to put together a new promotion for the end of the year. So, of course, this is the right time for you to give us the feedback on what kind of improvements that you would want to see in our promotion. So, please let us know. It's in the early work, so we don't have an exact date, but tentatively in the Q4 of 2024, in the calendar year. So again, thank you everyone for the participation. Robin, if you could just move forward the slides. Okay, so the 24.3 is going to be coming out towards the end of July. And I'm only going to mention a few key highlights here, but we're gonna have a dedicated session for 24.3 to cover everything that's going to be included in 24.3, most probably in the August instance of the webinar. So the major things include the support for external LDAP users, and we have also done a whole lot of platform updates, including KeyView, Tomcat, and Angular, VHN, or SIFs, and so on and so forth. So we would probably go through how these could help you in your environment when we do the 24 what's new and 24.3 in the next webinar. And there are also a number of things that we have improved in terms of security. We'll go over them as well during the webinar. And most probably, Robin, maybe you might sneak in some of these in your securing Filr environment in the TTP event, most probably. So we'll just go over that in during the TTP session.
Yeah, certainly they'll be in the session we do.
Yeah, thank you.
And lots of other bits and pieces.
Of course. I really love your securing Filr sessions. So the update in itself is a channel update, so which means you don't have to migrate or rebuild the appliance. So you just hit that update on the 9443 port to get this update, and it's on the Filr auto appliance, so you don't need to change your registration keys or channel keys and anything of that sort. So you just get the update over the channel as long as you're current on maintenance. So that's on the 24.3. So if you have any questions, do drop it in the Q&A window, which I don't believe Robin has managed to activate it yet.
Oh, isn't it active?
I don't see it yet, Robin. But while you do that, maybe you could just move the slide so I can go over what's coming next after 24.
Oh, you want me to? Okay, there you go. Let me see if I can get the Q&A up and running.
Busy there.
I'm sure I selected the option when I was setting up for Q&A, but let me just see if I can. While you're talking, I'll try and mess around and find where it is.
Yeah, thank you. So the next update is going to be Filr 24.4. It's still in the works. It's the content is being built, so it's going to be again a channel update. So we are not planning on introducing a new appliance this year. So there's not going to be a new appliance. So the SLES 15 SP4 is going to be the base, and we would most probably skip SP5 and SP6 and would end up going straight to SP7 towards the later part of the 2025. And that's when we probably will also bring in a new appliance if it demands one for the SLES 15 SP7 update. We are not aware of a new SLES code base yet, so we don't know if SLES 16 or any SLES next is going to be coming out yet. So depending on whichever the version that's going to be available, we will take a call at that point in time. So some of the things that we would be looking at based on the current clarity that we have is around improving the DLP capabilities in Filr. So for those who have not attended one of our previous webinars, so Robin and some of the folks from the IDOL team showcased how do you actually automate content classification on and enforce DLP in Filr through integration with the IDOL. So if you have not watched that, please, I'm guessing, Robin, that recording might be up there, or if not, do reach out to us. We
I
can.
don't think that one's posted to YouTube yet, but as we do monthly webinars, I typically posting those now, but I need to do the backlog at some point.
Okay. Thank you. So if you're interested, please do let us know so we could probably connect and show you the workings of it. We are also going to be focused. One of the other focus area for us, the major focus area for us, is to coexist in an Office 365 sort of an environment. So we have noticed that a large majority of you have some or the other sort of Office 365 in your environment, Teams or SharePoint or just the Office files, online editing, and so on and so forth. So we would be interested in pursuing those integrations. So that's another long-term focus for us on the Filr side. And there are also some enhancements that we would want to pick up in terms of like building a history for administrators and end users on the files, including the share and comments and so on and so forth. Those are the top items that we would most probably be looking at. But like I said, it's the content is getting built, so we will provide more clarity in future. So this is planned to be released towards the end of October, and again, like I said, would be over the channel. So Robin, I think if there are there any questions that we can?
I haven't managed to get that working. Once I've got this closed down off my screen, I'll be able to get the Q&A up and running.
Okay.
There's some comments coming in. I think Terry is asking if they're free flights and hotels. No, you just need to get yourself there. But I think go and talk to Chris and see if he will pay for those for you. Then Kevin is just asking about a group-wise session on Saturday. I think that one, Kevin, has been pulled, I'm afraid. But if you're there, I'm happy to talk to you about group-wise anytime and go through bits and pieces with you. But I didn't have any control over that being pulled, I'm afraid. What else we got? Chris is asking that maybe this is one for you, Girish. Chris is asking, when are we looking at having the Office Online server to replace Content Editor? I think rather than replace, it's in addition to, and it's Office 365 we're looking at rather than the online server, because we noticed that that hasn't been updated for something like 9 years since the last patch or any update came through. So when are we looking at getting 365 integration? I've seen it on some roadmaps, I think.
Right. That's a good point, Robin. So we are looking at Office 365 integration rather. The other integrations that we are talking at this point in time is in preparation for that. So the support for Intra ID and SharePoint in general is in preparation to that. So there would be some work conducted during the 24.4 release timeframe, but we are not confident of having a production ready integration with the Office 365 by then. So we'll probably be looking at that towards 25.1 timeframe there, Robin.
Okay, great. David is asking about Windows Desktop Client Delta updates. I know we've been talking about doing Delta updates and compression in the past across the wire. Are we still looking at that?
It's on the roadmap. Like I mentioned, so there are some enhancements that we're going to be picking up as well. So, which, like I said, hasn't been fully fleshed out. So, watch out for those. So when you said encryption, I think there are.
Well, encryption. I think most probably David should come to my session on the Saturday where we do Saturday or Sunday, where as part of the securing Filr we talk about how to encrypt the data on the desktop.
Perfect. Okay. So any other questions that we need to take right now, or we could probably park it for the moment and let the main presenters take over the session now.
I don't think there are any other questions there. I will try and, once I hand this over, try and get this set up to have the Q&A. So who's presenting first?
That would be Venkat.
Okay, here we go. Let me just change you to the presenter. And there we go. You should hopefully have presentation rights now.
Robin, hope you can hear me and you can see my slide.
We can see the slide. If you could go to the, yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll just give an overview of the pilot deployment currently.
You're a little bit distant at the moment.
One moment, Robin, sorry.
Okay, now I hope it's clear.
Yep, that's a lot clearer. Thank you.
Yep. I just give an overview of the pilot deployment currently we have. As a Filr as a product, we give as an on-premise solution as a virtual machine, virtual appliance, which it requires some of the hypervisors, that is VMware, Hyper-V, Citrixen, and Slezzen. We give a different templates for all these hypervisors. Now, currently, we are also looking for the other options. So the reason being the licensing concern having on the VMware. And getting the popularities of the other alternative hypervisors, and for having a flexibility to put the licenses on the hypervisors. So with that, we are introducing support for Nutanix and Proxmox hypervisor. So we have did the basic a small deployment, all-in-one deployment on these two hypervisors. So to officially completely support on these hypervisors, we also do the large deployments and cluster deployments on these hypervisors, and we claim for this support. So Nutanix hypervisor is an open source, and it has also an licensed version. So Nutanix HV is free. So HV in this is called an Acropolis hypervisor. So it extends an advanced virtualization capabilities, and it's a secure virtualization platform which we have got to know. And the management of the appliances, virtual machines is very easy in the Nutanix Prism. So we call so it is called as Nutanix Prism. It's a distributed resource management platform which allows users to manage and monitor objects and services which is running on the Nutanix environment. So we had created an article to deploy the Nutanix hypervisor also. You can access this link to get that. So whereas Proxmox hypervisor, even this is a free and open source. It has a centralized management system to manage and monitor the appliances, virtual machines. So it's built on Debian Linux. So it has dual virtualization support, that is KVM and OpenVisa, and it has a hardware compatibility as well. So for even Proxmox hypervisor, we have created an article. So this is the link to access that. So I'll go to the demo how we have deployed Filr in those hypervisors. Okay. So this is called Nutanix Prism. So it will run on every, if it is in cluster, it runs on every node. So it looks like this. Yep. So it has again 3 sections. One is creating an image. So what we are doing right now. So you just give a name for that image to identify later part. And I just give file a demo as name there. So I selected as disk and I'll upload a file here. So the files what you are seeing here is MF and OVF and VMDK files. So the for VMware we are giving a OVF file, so you can extract that file and you will get these 3 types of files. In that we are selecting VMDK file. Yeah, this takes some time to finish. I'll forward for a moment to finish. Okay. So this is the first part. So where where we create an image for deploy later. So now the second part is creating an VM, and you need to configure that VM. So the first one is the name of an appliance which we want to identify in the Prism. I'm just selecting my time zone. And we are giving the recommendations for 4 as a CPU and 20 as an RAM size, 20 GB as RAM. So here we delete the existing one. We add the image what we have created. So you can select now. You need to select there, that is, yep, clone from image service. So now it will identify the images. So we have created file demo previously and we select that. That's the first hard disk. And the second hard disk is the VS storage, where our configuration files and the my files is stored there. So that will create. So we'll select operation as allocate on storage container, and I am giving a 30 GB for now. And we also select create the third hard disk. It's a var hard disk. Yep. Okay, the other one is we'll add a NIC card for this virtual appliance. So, and I'll assign an IP address for this. Yep. And then click save. So now it takes some time to finish. Yep. The VM is created successfully. Now you can select the file server deployment appliance and power on. And you'll see the notification there. and then right click launch console, or you can launch console from here. I'm just forwarding to get the EULA page. Yep. I'm just giving the root passwords, admin password, NTP server details, the host name, and the network details for the file. So here we select no remote storage, and that's a small deployment. So if we need a cluster deployment, we need to select NFS and SIFs, which we will try later part. And okay, I'll just forward. Okay, that's how the deployment done on Nutanix. Okay. Okay, I'll give the credentials of root. So now you can configure your file. So that's on Nutanix. So I'll show you on the Proxmox. So this is the Proxmox hypervisor. So I'm logging to the Proxmox. So you can even SSH this server. And here again, it's 3 steps. You just need to import the OVF and configure the VM and install. So I have downloaded the OVA in this folder, and I'm extracting that. So it contains again OVF, MF, and AMDK file. Okay. And to import OVF, this is the command we will use. This is for OVF, and the ID what I gave 242 is a unique ID for that appliance. So with that ID, the appliance will be created in the UI. Okay. So the local LVM, whatever I gave there, that's a storage disk. So it varies to the Proxmox hypervisor. So for me, it's like it's a local LVM. So you can see here. and you can see the log symbol that's still it is creating there. I'll just forward. Okay. Now you can see there with the ID 242 there is a filer appliance created. So the last part is the second part is you need to create the network disk and the hard disk. And you need to add the hard disk for VS storage. I just select the storage which is available. And the disk size I have modified to 33. And the third hard disk is for WAR. Yep, that's it. So you can power on the virtual machine. From there, it's like common for all the appliances to configure. Yep. Yeah, that's it. Girish. So this is how we have created a small deployments on these two hypervisors. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, there's some questions that have come through. So Jorg is asking, which of these would you prefer as a hypervisor? You've obviously been doing a bit of work around it. Is there one you prefer over the other?
I don't believe we have done an assessment to that level. I believe I guess there was a very detailed session that Simon did at the TDP, which covered a lot of these choices of like which hypervisor to go with. I don't believe we are. I mean, from just the Filr point of view, they both behave quite similar, and we haven't seen any concerns there. But I guess there is more to consider on which hypervisor to standardize on than just Filr. So it might be worth taking a deeper look at these hypervisors. I don't believe we can give a guideline on that. But we will explore more and provide details on like which what sort of behavioral differences we would find from the Filr point of view. But I think the room was quite at least on the education sector, they were heavily leaning on the Proxmox side, I guess, during the TDP, Robin, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, I suspect so. Another question here is, do they make any differential between para virtualization and full virtualization?
Not to our knowledge, so they're all probably para virtualized, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Then Kevin's asking, are there any plans to support other products? So I assume we're talking about other appliances on Proxmox. I assume, yeah, are we looking at doing this for the iPrint appliance, for instance?
Yes, Robin. I think we have also done a similar exercise on iPrint and also on OES. Again, for the iPrint, of course, on the appliance side, we don't have HAs at the moment, the clustering. So we have validated the iPrint on Proxmox and Nutanix, and also from the OES point of view, the standalone servers have also been validated on the Proxmox and Nutanix virtualizations. But we haven't gone to OES clustering support on these platforms yet, but we will take that up in future.
Okay, great. There are a few comments from a number of people, for instance, Georg and John, who are running various products on Proxmox and other hypervisors that aren't supported. Yeah, so I think most probably Tom is making a valid point there, saying that it's good that that we can't turn around and say we don't support it now. On the
Yes,
we're fully supporting it.
Yes, that's another thing for sure. Like, so the support would now then would honor once we have this going up on the support matrix. And moreover, actually, we also want to make sure that we have some recommendations based on our experience on these platforms. Yes, I do. Of course, I think many of you might probably be already running these software on the Proxmox or Nutanix. Do share your feedback on what's your take on these platforms, and also we are also interested in knowing how was your journey migrating from one virtualization into another one, and if you needed any specific tools or anything of sort from the Filr point of your OES or iPrint, what sort of thing you might need in making this sort of migration. So it would be interesting for us.
Yeah. And Ron's making the point that both of these hypervisors are KVM based, so should be fairly straightforward for most people. And just as an aside, from Tyne, at a guess, you pronounce it that way, drop me an email and we can discuss your question there. Okay, I think that's it. Over to Leader, I guess.
Right.
Yep. Okay, let me make you the presenter, and you're going to show us some of the bits and pieces on Content Editor, and I think we're changing the Content Editor in 24.3 to a new version as well. So I assume some of these things you're showing us are going to be in that version.
Yeah.
Right, make presenter, yes. So hopefully you've got presentation rights. Yep, there we go. I can see that coming through. Okay, yeah. Thank you. Over to you, Leader.
Yes, that's Robin. I'll just do a quick intro into this. I guess most of you are already familiar with the content editor. So with the content editor, if you are running on a Filr Advanced license, then you would have access to the content editor appliance. And when you have this deployed, you will get the ability to edit and co-edit Office files online. And in general, you could do this from any of your desktop or mobile devices using a web browser. And those of you who have used this have expressed interest in that the fidelity of the document that it produces is better than the built-in key view fidelity. So we would probably be looking at in future making enhancements to provide you the option to make which of these viewers or editors to become the default when somebody hits the document on from the browser. And with this, you also have the ability to implement security around this access. So you could you have the option to either disable copy or printing of the document, and you can also put the watermark on the document so you know who has been accessing the document, and if that gets photocopied and so on and so forth. And you can also by default only the portion of the document that's currently visible to the user is the only content that's gets downloaded at the client side. So which means not all of the document is already downloaded. So which is again another layer of protection over the standard desktop download and access of files. So in Filr 24.3, like Robin mentioned, so we are going to be upgrading the Collabora The content editor behind the scene is using Collabra to provide the online editing capabilities. So we're going to be upgrading from 22 version 22 to 24, and in doing so, we have discovered a thing or two that might be interesting for you. So which is what Lita is going to take us through in the next part. But if you have been using content editor, or if you have any questions or concerns around that, please drop in the Q&A window. But for now, I'll just pass it back to Leah to take us through some of the capabilities that's going to be coming in into the Filr 24.3 through Collabra 24.04.
Yeah.
Over to you, Leah.
Thanks, Girish. So, hello everyone. Today I'll be going through some of the new features got added as part of latest content editor upgrade with Filr 24.3. So I'll be going through the features one by one. And the first feature will be go to insert QR or barcode in the document. So which will be encoding this feature will be encoding any text string or any URL as a barcode or QR code, which we can insert in a document. So which will be helpful for the user to scan the URL from the document. So if I'm taking one use case, if you are organizing some conference and we have to send one invitation, so along with the date, venue, other details, we can add a QR code with the link for the registration, so that the user can scan that QR code from the document and redirect to that registration link and register to that conference, which will be a helpful functionality for the user. This is one of the feature got newly added with content editor. And the next feature got added is with spreadsheet, which is self protection. So self protection can prevent modification of any critical data, so which will be increasing the security to any sensitive data and minimizing the risk of unauthorized changes. So if there are some critical data is in the Excel sheet and we are sharing that Excel sheet with other user, so the critical data cells, we can lock it, and the other user, whichever we are sharing, those users will be able to edit only the data which they are accessible to. This is one of the good feature which is added with spreadsheet. And the next feature got added with same with the spreadsheet is the contextual tooltip for functions. So if the user adding any functions in the spreadsheet, the user will be able to get to see one tooltip which will be explaining about the function, what the function does. That explanation will be providing in the tooltip, so that the user will be able to get to see the details inside the same software interface. User doesn't have to go into another URL and search for what it is using for. It will be a helpful feature for the user. And the next feature which is got added in the presentation, which is slide presentation in new window. This feature will be helpful when we are in a meeting or any video conference. That time we need to share a slide, show our slides. Suppose that time instead of using the full screen slideshow, we can use this feature, which is slide presentation in window. It will be, the slides will be opening in a window, so it will be more helpful for the user. And the last new feature got added is enhancement of help dialog and keyboard shortcut dialog, which is nothing but the help dialog and the keyboard shortcut dialogs are added as one HTML structure now, where will be search option is there. So instead of scrolling, we can minimize the scrolling. Actually, instead of scrolling, we can search the whichever content we want to know. We can just search it and directly we'll be getting the data. These are the new features got added as part of content editor latest update, and I can go through the demo now. Yeah. So the first feature which I discussed was insert QR code. So from Filr, I'll be editing. So So from Filr, I'll be editing one document, Word document. So the feature is included in Insert tab. Under that, we can see the option QR and barcode. So clicking on this, it will be there will be a text box where we can add the URL whichever we want to encode as part of the QR code or barcode. So I'm simply adding one URL here, and QR code or barcode, whichever option we want to select, we can select it and click on OK. It will be creating one QR code inside the document, so the user can scan this QR code from using their smartphones, so that they will be able to get to see that URL, and that URL will be redirecting to that particular page. This is the feature with the document. And the second feature which I discussed was insert spreadsheet. So this is one spreadsheet, and I have this data here. So if I'm selecting this particular cells and clicking on the right button, we'll be getting one format cells option. So inside that, there is one tab which is cell protection. So there is one option which is protected. If I'm selecting that option protected and clicking OK, these entire cells will be protected. And if I want to make only these cells as non-protected, so that the shared user can edit something, so I'll be uncheck that protected option. And before clicking OK, I just want to mention, it's mentioned here, self protection is only effective after the current sheet has been protected. So after we are making this protection, we have to protect the sheet as well. Then only this feature will be effective. So by right clicking on the sheet, there will be one option for protect sheet. We can protect this sheet with or without password. So I'm giving one password here. And click on OK. We can see one log symbol here in the with the sheet which is protected. So I'll be sharing this particular file with a user. With the edit access from Filr. So I have shared this particular file, and this is the user I have shared. Yeah, so this is the user I have shared with. You can see one shared with me option in the Filr. So this is the file. So if the user try to edit this, here if user try something, these are the cells I have protected. So if the user try to edit something there, it will be showing protected cell cannot be modified, but the user can edit these unprotected cells. So this is the feature which is newly added. Other than that, there is a contextual tooltip I have mentioned, which will become like if I'm giving sum as a function, and the related, all the tooltip related, everything will be coming under here. Sum related, all the functions explanation will be providing here. These are the feature with the spreadsheet. And
so Lida, if I would want to still edit the cells that are protected, so if I know the password, I can open the unlock the protection and continue to edit, right?
right.
So how do we actually unlock that? If you could show, please.
Unlock also, while clicking the same sheet, we have to click on right button, protect sheet. Here we have to give a password whatever we have given, and that will unprotect the sheet.
Okay, so if some of the users need to have the ability to edit the protected information, then they can receive this password
Yeah.
to update. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Next is presenting slide in a new window. So this is one presentation slide. So the option is comes under slide tab, and there is the option is present in a new window. So we can see one new window got opened, and the data, whatever slides are there, which will be presenting here. So we after a click, it will be changing the slides. This is the another feature. The last one, I'll go for the help. So help option is available for all the document. Online help and keyboard shortcuts are there. So while clicking on the online help, we'll be get to see this HTML structure where search option is here. So instead of scrolling, if I have editing presentation, if I have to go through, I can simply search and I'll be able to get the data easily. And the same will go for keyboard shortcut as well. Yeah, so this is all about the newly added feature for CE upgrade with Filr 24.3. Is there any questions?
So apart from these, we've also been informed that a number of defects have been addressed to improve the performance and as well as the fidelity of the documents. So I guess there's a detailed listing of the release notes on the Collabora side. So you know the versions now. So if you could probably take a look at those release notes to know what exactly have been updated since the 22.02 version that is currently running in your Filr environment.
Yeah.
So Robin, I think that's sort of what Lida had to do.
Okay, great.
If there,
I'm just seeing if there's
questions.
no questions really on that have come in. There's just one from Georg asking about Filr and content editor and connections. So you've got something slightly wrong there, Georg. The only connection that Filr does to the content editor, I believe, is when you test that connection with that test button in the administration console. It's when you go to edit a file, you hit the content editor, not the Filr web appliance, and then there's a WOPI code in the URL that the content editor picks up the document from Filr. So it's a content editor communicating with Filr rather than going the other way around, and that communication is over HTTPS typically. So you've got something, your ideas there on how it's working is slightly back to front. The only thing is, if you've gone and put in a load balancer or firewall there, typically what I would suggest, because I've come into problems with content editor going out and then coming in on the load balancer to go to one of the Filr web nodes, is I update the host file on the content editor to point directly to one of the Filr web nodes rather than to the external address. And then you need to do a recreate the container. There's a script there that you can run that will recreate the container, which will pick in that, take in that host file. So then the container will hit it. So, and that often will solve a problem if you've got problems coming through from the content editor to a Filr through a load balancer. Sebastian is asking which Collabora online version is this based on. I think this one, Girish, is it 2404.3.4?
This is 24.04.3. So
okay. And .4 is coming out soon. Sorry, I was preempting you to get the .4 in there before it's released.
No, you're right. I think probably 24.04.5 24 is also probably out, but we have been told that there is an issue in that release, and we haven't consumed that yet. But the concerns have been addressed, and there's going to be a new release of Collabra coming out soon. But we won't be taking that in for the Filr 24.3 release. So the Filr 24.3 release will go out with the Collabra Online 24.04.3.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, one other thing, Georg. The communication between content editor and filer is not over REST. It's just picking up a WAPI URL with an address in there. So we then just hit. I don't think we hit it on the on a REST, do we, Girish?
It's not necessary. Yeah, these are HTTP calls.
Yeah, exactly, not REST.
But it is stateless for sure, because it doesn't require credentials to be in place. It just works with the tokens and so on and so forth. So from that sense, you could say stateless. It can hit any of the Filr nodes to save the information. So it need not have to go to the same Filr node. So in a way, it's REST, but yeah. So I'm not sure. Maybe I'm not fully qualified to define whether it's REST or not, Robin.
I don't believe it is.
It's probably it's definitely HTTP.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry.
Okay. If you've still got problems, Georg, I would open an SR there.
Yeah, and Robin, so just one more information on that front. So we've also been told that if the certificate validations have been strictly enforced on the content editors, on the Collabra content editor side. So if that is a certificate that has expired or so on and so forth, it wouldn't accept any longer. So I think in the past there was some issues, and that they have addressed. So if you encounter issues in editing files using online editor, you might want to just check if your certificates are in place and they are fine, because the validations are strictly enforced now.
Okay, great. I think that is. Georg is saying that it's a REST call that's coming through. I'll need to look into that.
I think I would have to take the side of Georg. Yes.
I know if he's done the lookup. I was guessing there that we were just getting it on that token, but I assume the token's in that REST call there. Okay, I think we're more or less bang on the hour. So thank you very much. I think next time round, next month, Girish, we're going through some of the 24.3 other features that we're releasing, because I'd assume we'll have just released 24.3.
That's right, Robin. So that would be the agenda for the next webinar. Yes, we will go through. We'll go through the what's new in 24.3 in the next webinar. Thank you.
Okay,
thank you.
That's
everyone.
great. Thank you very much for that, and thank you to our presenters. Some interesting stuff there, and certainly some bits and pieces I'll need to try on the content editor now. And hopefully we'll see you next month on the update call. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.